you might have recognized how unpleasant and unfortunate it is to be caught up in something. And you might also have recognized how nice it is to be in a flow state. And you could say that raising your frequency is essentially about increasing the amount of flow experiences you have throughout the day and decrease the amount of stagnation and being caught up that you are experiencing. And right now you are experiencing certain areas of life, certain scenarios throughout the day where you are stagnating a little, where you aren't in flow, and you can overcome them. They are the perfect challenges for you to grow, to get to the next level. And you don't need to understand so much about what the next level and the level after there and so on holds in store for you in terms of challenges or what one needs to flow with. You just need to recognize what you are stagnating with right now and choose to flow with those things instead. You might recognize the value of overcoming those things, the value of replacing the stagnation with flow. It might seem lovely to you to overcome those things. And if you can truly recognize the value of it, then it's going to be a lot easier for you to overcome it. If you can recognize how little value it has to think in those ways that are stagnating, in those ways that are keeping you caught up, that are hindering your flow, then it's going to be easy to let go of those things and rather experience flow. So what we're talking about is definitely energy work, and you could absolutely call it shadow work also. But it's simply the skill of being able to be in the moment, even if you recognize something that is popping up from your past, or something that you think is unfortunate, or something that normally would upset you, and to not go there. To know for yourself that being in the moment, being fine, being free, is more important than abandoning your experience of the moment to rather go there and be upset and stagnant. And you can be able to master this within the level that you are at right now. If you can overcome those tests, then you will get to the next level. And you don't need to know more than what is needed for you to deal with those things. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to master everything to the highest degree. And I've said it before that this channel really isn't for those that aren't determined to win the game for themselves. I don't have any good advice for those that are determined to stay on the fifth dimension. I'm going to say things in the way that they need to be said for you to get to the highest frequency. And when it comes to this thing, well, you would benefit from truly wanting to be free. In the highest frequency sense of it. In the highest frequency that freedom can be experienced. That is the thing that you would benefit the most from finding to be most valuable. I just can't promote the idea of holding any low frequency mindsets as high value, which essentially is the only thing that would keep someone at fifth dimension. So step number 1 would be to know what you really want. And if that is highest frequency, freedom, happiness, empowerment, then you also think through what type of value the opposite things have. And you commit to it, the higher frequencies, fully and completely. And whatever needs to be faced, in any sense that it can be faced, you are willing to face and to flow with it. And this is something that must be practiced. And it might be easy to achieve now that you recognize how you essentially choose to do the things that you find most valuable. If you truly only care to be happy now, to be in the moment, then you can observe yourself from now on. Whenever something pops up, a shadow, and see how it dissolves, now that it has so little value. Now that you rather want to replace that low frequency energy with source energy, with the experience of being in the moment, of being free. And there are many things I can say about the mindsets, the consciousness that one needs to be able to not fight those things. Because essentially it is the fight that is keeping you in a lower frequency. But you fight that thing because you think it's valuable. You're trying to push it away or pull it towards you, when really you should just respect it, accept that it is there, to not give it any value, and rather give all of the value to the experience of being. And if you recognize that you're trying to force something, you're trying to push it, pull it, then just stop up and catch yourself. Remind yourself that you're fighting now, and it isn't going to work. And then you retrieve back to the moment, happy now, and you intend to flow with that thing. You will then eventually see that it just dissolves. And it's the same approach to all things. Any physical pains, any mental mindsets, whatever it should be. It's really just the art of flowing and not fighting. So we can use an example. Let's say that something comes to mind. You remember something that happened 10 years ago. And it was something awkward. And now you remember it clearly. And you're feeling the discomfort of it. You're feeling the judgment of yourself. Why didn't you do it better? Why didn't you behave differently? I'm sure that's not very enjoyable to you. And if we were to experience flow with that thing, then it wouldn't be uncomfortable anymore. So you could say that right now, depending on how that thing is being perceived, you're either trying to look away from it, just forget about it, or you're trying to push it away or energetically in one way or another remove it, fight it. But if you can choose to have the level of maturity to where you first and foremost recognize that this isn't benefiting you, being in a fight like this, it's uncomfortable, it's decreasing your joy and happiness here and now, then you can rather choose to flow with it. You can choose to be in the moment and have a high frequency mindset about that thing. And you don't need to have the high frequency mindset yet. If you can choose to be forgiving of that thing, if you can choose to see it in whatever way that will set you free, in highest frequency freedom, and then you will access the clarity that you need for you to have a flow with that thing. Certain things that you know deep inside will just be clear. Maybe you were young, you didn't know any better, You are simply misunderstanding whatever could be true in that scenario 10 years ago will now come to mind. And you will see that there was no good reason to fight that thing whatsoever. You can be completely forgiving of it. You didn't know any better. Or maybe you knew better, but you were caught up for some reason. And it just happened like that. And it's fine. And if you can have this mindset with everything in life, then you will gradually increase the flow in all areas. If you can choose to be someone who is walking around with this type of frequency, then things will dissolve. And you will be forgiving, you will be free, you will be happy. So essentially we're just talking about doing right now what you ultimately want to experience. You want to get to such a high frequency level that you aren't judging things that happened in your past, that you're not caught up in them. Well, then you would need to be forgiving of them now. You would need to be open to having the mindset that is going to give you that freedom. And you would benefit from choosing that mindset always, because it is a frequency, and it is the frequency that you want to experience. And in that way you can experience utmost flow. So if you have benefited from this video, kindly consider becoming a supporter. This is all possible thanks to the supporters. Abundance, health and prosperity to you. Thank you so much.